Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending at the hour you're listening to this. So, for today's class, vamos a estar, la clase de hoy, we're going to be discussing the Kahoot practice exercise that I gave you in the previous class. Como ya saben, as you all know, in the previous class, I gave you a presentation, una presentación, and a video, un video. And in that video, el video es una explicación de la presentación. So, el video y la presentación is the same thing, es lo mismo. Solamente que el video gives a narrated version of the presentation like I'm doing right now. And recuerden, ese video is going to be available in YouTube and it's always going to be available there. If you want to go back, si quieres regresar al video y verlo cuantas veces ustedes quieran para poder entenderlo mejor, para eso lo dejé en YouTube so it can be easier for you. So, for today's class, y al final del previous class, I left you a Kahoot practice. Les dejo una práctica de Kahoot para que los estudiantes could work with it. Entonces, yo le había dicho que para la siguiente clase, we were going to discuss those exercises. Que para eso es lo que estamos ahora. So, for today's class, we're going to be answering y discutiendo el Kahoot del Kahoot practice that I left you last week about simple present. And it introduced you, and remember, last class, introducimos lo que es simple present, frequency adverbs, and plural verb conjugations. So without further ado, let's begin. So the first one talks about, simple present talks about actions, things, or events that we do habitually. Presente simple habla de acciones, cosas, o eventos que hacemos habitualmente, daily habits. And the answer to that is true. Moving on to the next one. The second question asked you about what do you add to the verb when the subject is he, she, or it. So remember, I said that in simple present, en oraciones de presente simple, when the subject is he, she, it, cuando el sujeto es he, she, it, tercera persona singular, third person singular, what do we add to the verb? Is it another type of past conjugation? Does it stay the same? Past conjugation, o si le añadimos plural, ese. The correct answer here, la contestación correcta es plural. So, cuando the verb is, when the subject de la oración es he, she, it, cuando el sujeto es he, she, it, tercera persona singular, conjugamos el verbo con su forma plural. Moving on to the next one. The next question will be, what do you add to the verb if it's plural? O sea, que esto añades al verbo si es plural, pero termina en S, SH, CH, X y Z. So, what would you add to the verb if it's plural and ends with S, SH, CH, X, and Z? ¿Qué le añadimos? S, se queda el plural en S. Do we add ED? Do we add IES? And the correct answer is we add ES. Añadimos ES al verbo si termina with S, SH, CH, X, and Z. So, if the verb is plural, y termina en estas letras que ustedes ven aquí, you add ES to the verb. For the next question, it asks you to conjugate the following simple present sentence. So ahora vamos a conjugar verbos. So it says there, the bee, blank by the bush. Ten en consideración that this sentence, the bee, esto es un it. Esto es un it. So esto es tercera persona singular. This is third person singular because of the subject, be, es un it. So lo conjugamos en plural. We're going to conjugate this verb in plural. And since it ends with Z, como termina con Z, añadimos ES. And the correct answer is buzzes. And as you can see, it follows the formula. Tenemos nuestro sujeto, verb conjugated, and then the rest of the sentence. Moving on to the next exercise. Seguimos con el siguiente ejercicio. Ahora vamos, now we're going to the next one, la siguiente oración. And for the rest of the exercise, todas las oraciones son ejercicios de conjugación. Vamos a conjugar el verbo. Siguiente oración. Bad Bunny usually blank his phone before every concert. Again, let's look at the subject. Vamos a ver el sujeto de la oración aquí. Aquí el sujeto es Bad Bunny. As you know, Bad Bunny es un he. Si lo cambiamos en pronombre sería he. Since Bad Bunny is a he, el sujeto está en tercera persona singular. So, since it's a he, it's in third person singular. Cuando está en tercera persona singular, ¿qué pasa con el verbo? When it's in third person singular, we add plural. since no termina en E, we just add S. And the correct answer is charges. And it follows the formula: subject, frequency adverb, verb conjugated, and then the rest of the sentence. Moving on to the next sentence exercise, it says, I usually blank my office on Wednesday. So again, what's the first thing that we're going to do? ¿Qué es lo primero que vamos a hacer? Vamos a ver el sujeto de la oración. The subject in this sentence is I. Sujeto es I. Como es primera, and this is first person singular. Como esto es primera persona singular, I, el verbo no se conjuga. The verb doesn't get conjugated. It stays the same. So the correct, como el verbo es primera persona singular, it stays the same. No lo conjugamos. So the correct answer is clean. And again, this follows the formula: subject, frequency adverb, verb, and the rest of the sentence. Now we're going to move on to the next exercise. Alrighty. Now we're in the next exercise. So the sentence says, they usually blank in the monthly basketball tournament. As we do with the other exercises, we're gonna see the subject, el sujeto. El sujeto de esta oración es they. They, esto, es el sujeto. This subject, utilizando they, el pronombre they, is in third person plural. Como esto, el sujeto, está en tercera persona plural, como está en tercera persona plural, el verbo stays the same. El verbo se queda igual, no se conjuga con plural, because the subject is third person plural. At the same time, esto sigue la fórmula: subject, frequency adverb, verb, rest of the sentence. So recuerden, como es en tercera, como el sujeto está en tercera persona plural, the verb is in third person plural here, the verb stays the same. El verbo se queda igual. Moving on to the next one. All right, now we're in the next exercise. The next sentence, perdón. So the next sentence says, Steph Curry blank a lot of 3-pointers per game. Si yo no sé ustedes, si ustedes están viendo juegos de NBA esta temporada, Steph Curry regresó y está lanzando and making a lot of 3-pointers. It's bien exciting. So, utilizando a Stephen Curry de ejemplo, lo mismo con todas las demás oraciones. The same with the other sentences. Let's look at the subject. The subject of the sentence here is Steph Curry. Si cambiamos, if we change Steph Curry to a pronoun, si cambiamos a Steph Curry to a pronoun, ¿cuál pronoun utilizaríamos? We will use the pronoun he. We will use the pronoun he here. Y como ya habíamos establecido, when the subject of the sentence is a he, she, or it, we call that third person singular. And when the subject of the sentence is a third person singular, cuando el sujeto de la oración es tercera persona singular, conjugamos el verbo en plural. So, we're going to conjugate this in plural. ¿Con qué termina el verbo? Con SH. Since the verb ends with SH, we're going to add ES to the verb. Now we're going to move on to the next one. All right, in the next sentence that we have here, it says, Orlando blank a lot of fruits for his favorite fruit punch juice. Again, let's look at the subject. The subject of the sentence is Orlando. El sujeto es Orlando. Cuando cambiamos Orlando a pronombre, when we change Orlando to a pronoun, what would it be? It would be he. Sería he. Como es he, es tercera persona singular. Since it's he, it's third person singular. Like I said, he, she, it is third person singular. And when it's third person singular, cuando tercera persona singular, el verbo, the verb that we see here, lo convertimos en plural. We change the verb to plural because this is third person singular. Since it ends with an X, como termina con una X, we add ES for the plural. Añadimos ES al plural because termina con X y es tercera persona singular. So the correct answer is mixes. Now we're going to move on to the next one. We are officially in the home stretch. We're almost done here. Estamos casi terminando. So, I noticed que aquí hay un error y esa es mala mía. Me disculpo por ese error, pero se me olvidó poner el blanco aquí for the opportunity to conjugate the verb. Se me olvidó poner el blanco aquí para que tenga la oportunidad de que, ok, tienes que conjugar el verbo aquí. So, my bad. Pero vamos a leer el sujeto otra vez. Brian and Laura. If we change, si cambiamos Brian and Laura to a pronoun, sería they. Since the pronoun in here sería they, the verb is in third person plural, and if the verb is in third person plural, lo dejamos así y no lo conjugamos. So the correct answer is eat. And again, follows the formula. Subject, verb, rest of the sentence. Next sentence. It says, Veronica blank to visit Isabella on Sunday. So, like we have been doing so far, let's look at the subject, Veronica. If we change Veronica to a pronoun, si lo cambiamos pronombre, sería, it would be she. Entonces, since the subject is she, and it goes in the he, she, it first person singular that we mentioned, como el pronombre es she, entraría la categoría de he, she, it, que habíamos mencionado que eso es tercera persona singular, third person singular. And when it's third person singular, we conjugate the verb with a plural. Y le añadimos el plural. So the correct answer is likes. Moving on to the next one. Alright, estamos en la antepenúltima. The professor blank a lot of sports and anime during the weekend. So let's do what we have been doing so far. El sujeto, the professor. Si cambiamos eso a un pronombre, if we change that to a pronoun, what would it be? Sería, en el caso mío, since I'm the professor, sería he. If it was a female professor, sería she. Pero en caso de que estamos utilizando he, she, it. Estamos utilizando he, she, it. Tercera persona, singular. We're using third person singular again. If we're using third person singular again, como está en tercera persona singular, we conjugate the verb. Le añadimos plural. And since it ends with ch, we add es. We're going to move on to the next one. We're almost done here. The next one. Stephanie and Gloria blank to school together. If we go to the subject, si vamos al sujeto aquí, si lo criamos en pronombre, sería they. Stephanie and Gloria, they. Esto sería tercera persona plural. This is third person plural. Cuando es tercera persona plural, when it's third person plural, el verbo stays the same. So the correct answer is walk. We're at the home stretch. We're almost done. So let's go to the next one. We're going in the next one, el casi último. Let's read the sentence. Pedro blank every Monday morning. And again, let's go to the subject. Pedro. If we change Pedro to a pronoun, what would it be? It would be he. So el pronombre he. So this subject is in third person singular. When the subject is third person singular, cuando el sujeto es tercera persona singular, cambiamos el verbo a plural. So when the subject is third person singular, we change the verb to its plural form. Y en este caso sería jogs. Now we're going to move on to the last one. Okay, in the last sentence, we're just going to read the last sentence. Mary blank responsibly every day. And again, we're going to change it to pronoun. How would you change Mary to a pronoun? You would change Mary to she. Sería she. So esto es he, she, it. Tercera persona, singular. Third person singular. So cambiamos en plural and it ends with y. Termina con y. So we eliminate the y, eliminamos la y y añadimos ies. So the right answer is studies. If you have any doubts or questions, si tienes cualquier duda o pregunta con estos ejercicios y sus contestaciones, do not hesitate to contact me. Si tienen duda con esto, no duden en contactarme. Have a great day, everyone.